everyone, I'm Daniel and welcome to Daniel Does DFW, where we talk about everything theater, and each week I have a different guest. This week I'm so excited to have one of my favorite people. Honestly, love this person to death. Don't even know them, really. Never met them before.
Just met her.
Just picked them up.
On the bus stop.
Just picked them up at the bus stop. But I have with me today, Dominic. Why don't you go ahead and give us full names, pronoun.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dominic Pecikonis. I use they, them, and she, her pronouns. And that's me. That's me. And that's it.
And that's the end of the podcast. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tatiana. No, okay. Thank you so much for joining us today. I know it was a trek for you to get here.
Just a hop, a skip, a jump, a TRE, and a dart rail, honey. But I made it!
All the way out here to this little place. So I appreciate you for coming on. I'm super excited just because I think that you are an open and honest person within our community where you are not afraid to shy away from what truth needs to be told.
100%.
And so, and it's not in a mean or gossipy way. It's in a, this is what it is way. And so that's why I was like, we need Dom on the show immediately. It took me this long to get you on. But I know busy. We're only 25 episodes in, but we'll see.
Oh my God, that's so many.
I know, right?
Oh, that was a lie.
Gullible.
I am. I'm the gullible
First
queen.
one. You'll see later more.
We need to keep a tally. Like
Drink every time that Dom is gullible. I'm gonna be so drunk. All right. So, our background, meeting you, I had seen you in and out. So, like, I had heard the name a lot because also you are a drag queen as well. You perform drag. I've seen the name Eliza Rocks every once in a while here and there. I knew Eliza was also a singer, a singing drag queen, because I'm friends with Kiva, Salem Moon.
Oh, my sister.
Yes, and so Salem does some of those like singing drag shows, and so I'd seen her name around, and I was like, "Who is this person?" Like, and then they were like, "Oh, she does theater," and I was like,
"Sure,
do she? Yeah,
that's
whatever."
What they all say.
And then one night, I went out with a friend to karaoke, who happened to be your roommate.
Yes. And shout out Matt Pippin.
Yeah, shout out. and so I was like, oh my God, I've never met this person before. I want to get to know you. And that was over a year ago now.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, and now randomly I'll see you at karaoke or...
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday. There it is again.
Not randomly, it's planned.
Yeah, I was going to say just about every Tuesday or at Boat, when you're able to make it out for that. So, and just like, a year of friendship where... we have common interests, common likes, and I think we both like having a good time.
Absolutely.
And getting a little drunk. Maybe a lot. So
a lot. I don't know what I'm allowed to say.
You can say what...
We love to get hammered. Occasionally, when we don't have to sing.
Yeah, or all the time.
So it's great that I'm drinking this wine before I'm about to sing.
Yeah. Because it's just going to be great.
Because that's vocal cords of steel.
Yeah, honestly.
That's what people say.
That's what I've heard.
But
it wasn't vocal cords.
It was vocal nodes of steel, sorry.
It was something there.
Right.
So tell me about yourself. I know that I've seen you in a couple shows here and there or like seen, casting. But tell me how you got your start. Are you from DFW?
I am. So I was originally born in Plano, but was raised in Allen, Texas. Shout out Allen Eagles. Yes. Is that the sound that they make?
I don't know.
I went to Collin College for 2 years. Okay. And then I transferred to Sam Houston, near Houston.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm familiar with Sam Houston.
So I am born and raised here, and I've lived here, and I've lived other places. But yeah, for right now, I'm a DFW girly.
Nice. What got you into theater? What was the moment we were like, this is what I want to do?
It was 3rd grade. I wish we could zoom in. It was 3rd grade. We were doing a class play. It was the trial of the 3 little pigs.
Yeah,
and I played the role. Yeah, I am.
Okay, good.
No, I know my angles, my camera. I was playing the role of the judge in the trial of the 3 little pigs in my class play.
Oh, I was picturing Sweeney Todd.
In 3rd grade?
I was playing the judge.
I don't think those teachers would be teaching anymore if that was the case. But yeah, I literally knew from that class play that I wanted to do it. And I did it all through middle school, high school, college, and here I am.
What was your, as a child, before being profesh, what was your favorite role that you got to play during that time?
Well, if you ask my parents, because I've never topped this role for them, which is kind of sad. In 8th grade, I played the genie in Aladdin. I know. Amazing. And to this day, I could be doing the most professional show and they'll be like, but you know, that genie in Aladdin was amazing. And I don't know what if you can't live up to 8th grade you, what can you do?
Was your family the type that, like, it's Thanksgiving, like, families around, like,
sing?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Can you sing from
literally this past, what was the last holiday we just had? I forgot. We just had a holiday. Easter. I sang for my dad at Easter, so they still do it, and I get really shy in small groups.
Yes,
and they're like, "But you do it for hundreds of people, but I don't see them."
Yes,
because there's lights in my face. So yeah, my family is very much that, but they're also an arts family. Like my dad is a musician, an actor. My mom was a rapper, but she doesn't want anyone to know. But now they know, and so I've just been raised with.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna pause really quickly, and we're gonna play a track here.
What am I? What? Oh, my mom. Oh, I didn't know if we were cutting to. That's I didn't know if that was an editing thing. I legit was like, okay, like weird segue. Okay.
No.
I'm dead. That was so funny.
The track of your mother. That makes me laugh.
I wish. No, there was a copy, an alleged cassette tape in the garage. But I think she got rid of it, so now I can't find it. And there used to be an article, because she won some competition as a teenager, but she scrubbed it from the internet, I'm telling you.
Stop. Are you able to rap as well?
I have toured in a show where I had to rap, but I wouldn't call myself a Nicki Minaj. Oh, okay. But I can. So if you're listening, I can do anything.
What? Yeah, no, obviously. Okay, so tell me a little bit more now. You ended high school. How did you what was your first show out of high school? What was that like? Or,
like professional? Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. I did a production of, oh my gosh. What was it?
Was that bad?
Oh, I think it was Baker.
The Baker's Wife?
No, it wasn't. It was Sideshow.
Oh.
At a theater company that doesn't exist here anymore called P Family Art.
I think I remember.
That was my first year, I think, at College. And that was my first professional show. And then I started to do like Garland Summer Musicals, and that's like when I really started to get into the scene. But it just feels like a whole lifetime ago. Like I was just such a completely different person, and I was so young, and I didn't really know who I was as a person or an artist. So I feel like now I'm truly like getting my start in the industry. Yeah, at least DFW ways.
I will say that one thing that I really, really admire is that you know yourself.
Thank you.
And you may not feel confident, because I know people like that. Sometimes they're like, but you exude confidence, and you like just hold yourself like, and I think that that's a good example for other people in our area. Kind of like what I told Sinclair, right? Like that's something that people have to look up to.
Oh,
you know, a non-binary person that is doing things within our area and wants to do more things within our area. Wants to do more within our area. And so I think that you've proven it time and time again that you can do it.
I just, I mean, it's always just about getting in the room, I feel like, for a lot of people, artists in general, but especially like any minority group or trans person, I feel like it's just about getting in the room. Like we can do all the same things in a new way, but also we know how to do it how it needs to be done. Yeah. And just being ourselves brings a nuance without having to necessarily add or change anything. And I think sometimes people are like afraid they're gonna have to make big changes to include trans people in shows, but I just feel like, I don't know, any actor brings their own experience to a role, and I don't know why it seems so hard for people to see past gender and stuff when it comes to casting. So just put us in the room and you won't regret it.
I just saw a post from Sienna Really where they were like, I can do any role. Like it doesn't have to be gender, and I can have a romantic relationship with any person.
Absolutely.
I'm an actor, right?
Yeah.
I can do that. It doesn't have to be specific, and I think that both of you really are a living testament to that.
Thank you.
So let's talk about you getting in the room, specifically with the role that I think turned a lot of people, and it caused a lot of commotion, both good and bad. when you played Paulette in Legally Blonde. Yeah. Let's touch on that just a little bit. How did that feel for you?
I was honestly gagged. I was so, I don't want to say I was surprised because I knew I could do it. I had a connection to that character, but I had only been out not even a year at that point. But I knew that I wanted it, and for it to happen in Garland, of all places, was surprising to me, but it was such a beautiful experience and such an affirming experience, because it was really the first, like, femme role that I got to play after coming out, and it just, I felt at home for the first time, and I felt like my work was great because I was no longer, like, trying to portray just the base gender of a character that I felt foreign to. Like, because I identified more with her, I was able to focus on the nuances of the character instead of that base, like, I'm portraying, like, what a man is. And I feel like I had so many people that came to see the show who had kids or family members that were trans, and seeing someone like me on the stage was really a big deal for them. And I think it just showed them that it was possible. And just, we didn't change any of the script. And I think getting to watch, like, a trans person just exist in this world, and it wasn't ruffling feathers, and it wasn't about me being trans. I just got to, like, fall in love and be goofy and, like, be a human being. I just think it was beautiful, and I loved that whole experience so much.
I love that for you, and I think this is actually where I want to take our first song break, because that type of role is what I can see you more in. I think that this first song kind of explains that, and where we can go from there. So we'll be right back. We're going to head over to the keyboard really quickly and see if Dom can sing.
So rude.
I'm ready to hear you sing finally, because I don't think I've really, like, heard you sing, except, like, randomly at karaoke.
And we can't hear anything in there.
Because someone loves them some karaoke.
Every Tuesday.
Yeah, a round of karaoke. Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. Pay us, round up, for that little moment that we had. So this song, I know you told us it's a role that you want to play.
Absolutely.
And so I think you're gonna kill it. Tell us what you're singing. Hold on.
I'm not gonna tell you what I'm gonna sing because you're gonna know what I'm gonna sing. But I love this role. That's all I'm gonna say. I know Seymour is the greatest, but I'm dating a semi-sadist. So I got a black eye and my arms in a cast. Still, that Seymour is a cutie. Well, if not, he's got inner beauty. And I dream of a place where we can be together at last. A matchbox of our own, a fence of real chain link, a grill out on the patio, disposal in the sink, a washer and a dryer, and an ironing machine, in the tract house that we share somewhere that's green. He rakes and trims the grass. Oh, he loves to mow and weed. I look like Betty Crocker, and I look like Donna Reed. There's plastic on the furniture to keep it neat and clean, and the pine saw scented air somewhere that's green. Between our frozen dinners and our bedtime, 9:15, we snuggle watching Lucy on her big, enormous 12-inch screen. I'm his December bride, his father, he knows best. Our kids watch how as the sun sets in the west. A picture out of Better Homes and Garden magazines. Far from Skid Row, I dream we'll go somewhere that's green.
It's actually really good.
Thank you. I love her.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Oh, yeah, you were good too. You were.
Don't listen to my mistakes.
I only took piano 2 semesters in college, and let me tell you, I barely passed, so.
I only took piano 2 semesters in college as well.
That explains it.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. If this episode never airs, you know why.
Well, nobody would ever know. They won't see it.
True.
So, I saw Jada
My love.
in Little Shop with Theater 3. So good.
So good.
So good. The only thing, and we can cut this out later if it's too controversial, the only thing I felt like a part of me was like they were just doing it because, we had just seen it on Broadway. Or no, it was
Pasadena Playhouse, yeah.
We had just seen it and I was like, are we trying to be like, we're doing this too? Or is this like something that we, you know what I mean? I don't want it to be like I want it to be
trendy
real,
kind of thing.
Yes, I want it to be real, and I think Jacob was great for the role no matter what.
Yeah.
But I want it to be, this is because who was for the role, not because it's
Right.
I
think it's a mix of both in a lot of ways, especially, what was that, 2022? That was right after
It was right after COVID, yeah.
Because the thing
It was
is,
outdoors.
I think sometimes we're not as creative in casting because we haven't seen it yet. And so I think when MJ played Audrey, I think then people were like, oh, this is a whole possibility for this role that we didn't think of.
Yeah.
So I feel like, obviously, Jada being amazing, and then seeing that it's being opened up to trans and queer people, I think, was part of the reason that I went into that. But casting is so interesting, because 2022, I feel like we were seeing a lot of trans representation on Broadway and in regional theater, and now it's kind of peeling back, in my opinion, and kind of going back to what it was before. So it's hard to navigate what is like truly, this is the person we want to give space, and what is like was just a trend for the moment. But I feel like with Little Shop, that specific production was I feel like they really just knew she was right for it, and she slayed.
Good.
And it made me realize like that was a possibility for me watching Jada do that. So
yeah, well, and I mean, again, you heard the talk back and forth, right? Of like, oh, should they be in this role or should they not? And we really didn't get to talk about the negatives of when you got to play Paulette.
Right.
And like, I love all the positive stuff, but I want to hear, the negative and how it affected you as well, if it did.
I mean, for the most part, it was a very positive experience. I remember specifically like one of the moments in the show I was worried about is traditionally Paulette is pregnant at the end of the show. Mm-hmm. And I knew that wasn't going to be something we were going to do because I don't have that experience. And I didn't want it to feel inauthentic or like a caricature or anything. And so our director, Michael Sareki, and I decided to reframe it without changing any lyrics. And so we like had adoption papers that she had, one talking about having another baby on the way. It was just like a beautiful way to relate it to an experience I would be more likely to have. But there was definitely like audience members that were not happy. And I didn't necessarily like see it as much myself. It was more so when I had friends come. They would hear things and, oh, why do they look so weird? Or why are they playing this role? Or that kind of thing. Or one lady I heard from a family member was like shaking her head and was like very distraught over the fact that I was playing this role. And that happens. And like anytime I posted about it online, of course, I get those hate comments. Not an overwhelming amount, but people always feel like you're trying to like fool them or something. you know, like I'm trying to play dress up or something like that, and they don't like see the humanity because they just choose not to. So that's really disheartening. But it also reminds me why it's important that I take up space, because any role that I play, I'm thinking about like the next generation of people like me and what I want their experiences to be. So I'm willing to like take on that negativity if it means there's a chance that people will see my humanity, and then the next person that has an opportunity won't have to deal with it, you know?
I love that. Now, you said you had this support from your director, which Michael Sorecchia is God, love him so much. The nicest angel person I've ever met, right? And I think Megan was also your choreographer.
Yes.
Love.
Megan Kelly Bates.
Love Megan Kelly Bates. Did you also have did you feel the support from your cast?
100%.
Wonderful. And then higher up as well from the board,
I think so. I never heard of anything. That's why I was so surprised that I got it, to be honest, because most of the shows I've seen at Garland tend to be more classic, which I love. So I felt like Legally Blonde in general was a departure for them from their normal shows, but to have someone like me playing that role was a big departure. And I think majority of the people that came to see it enjoyed it. So it was just an exciting moment of possibility for DFW. And yeah, and I love Patty, and every time I see a show there, we always say hello, and she's a sweet lady.
Yes. Would you say that Paulette is your favorite role or dream role? What is your
ultimate dream role? Hasn't been written yet, because I feel like a lot of times I'll go to auditions and they're trying, or they're expecting me to either look like or perform or sing like how the role has been done before. Especially if I get called in for like maybe like a female track, they don't always change the keys. When I did Paulette with Garland, we changed the keys, which doesn't happen a lot. It should happen more. Professional theater, but it doesn't. So that is a toughie for me. And then when there are the few like trans characters, I feel like they always want you like up in the rafters, like crazy high singing, because it's like they want you to sound as close to like a cis female as possible, in my opinion. And there's just so many different kinds of trans people with all kinds of voices, and they're all valid and they're all beautiful and they all add something to the theater. So I would love to see a role that I can sing how I sing and tell a story that I relate to. So it hasn't been written yet. But as far as roles that already exist, as we saw before, I would love to play Audrey. I think her experience in a lower income and abusive situation feels very similar to what me and a lot of my trans friends experience. And just wanting to be loved as who you are. I mean, the line in Suddenly Seymour when she says, the girl that's inside me, like Seymour teaches her how to be the girl inside her, I feel like just speaks so much to the trans experience. So
nice. And I think that's why it reads so well. I mean, MJ did a phenomenal job and had it changed key.
Yeah.
Jinx.
Yeah, Jinx, and when Jada did it, Theater 3, they changed it. And I think people, again, it's a creativity thing. Like, until they see it done, they feel like that it can't happen. Yeah. And it's exciting. Like, it's exciting in multiple keys if the singer is exciting.
Do you think, can you give me an example maybe of one or two other roles that you think could read well as a trans?
Oh my gosh, I feel like I have so many. Wait, I'm trying to remember. I have a whole list, and I'm like blinking. I would really love to play Lucy in Jekyll and Hyde. I think Lucy makes so much sense as a trans person because, again, there's such a talk about like the down low community of people who are attracted to trans people, but they don't want people to know. And like, there's a lot of trans people who do sex work and stuff like that. And so I just feel like that role makes sense to me as a trans person. I also really want to play Gretchen in Mean Girls. I think it makes sense. Let me tell you why. Regina likes to collect things, right? Whatever the newest, hottest thing is. So I feel like she would definitely, to show that she's woke, she would definitely like have a trans friend with her. And when Gretchen sings What's Wrong With Me, just every line of that speaks to like, you're really trying to present and be accepted, and you want to make sure like you're presenting it in a certain way because you already have things stacked against you. So that song, I have that in my book as well because I feel like I've experienced that as I've transitioned of like, you know, how can I look better? How can I be more palatable? And blah, blah. It's like it's an unfortunate part of the experience, but it is fun. So
yeah, and I mean, your hair's already big.
It's huge.
Is it full of secrets?
We'll find out.
Yeah, well, and I mean, and who else like is the most comfortable around everybody and everybody wants to talk to them and tell them their secrets?
Exactly. 100%.
Right? So that would be hilariously amazing. I love it.
And Eponine and Les Mis, I think, because here's the thing. Unrequited love, right? Like, Marius never sees Eponine as a potential love interest.
Okay.
And it's because I think she's trans, but I don't necessarily think in that time, obviously the language wasn't there, but people know there's something different about her. And when she goes over the barricade, they think that she's a boy, right? They're like, there's a boy climbing over the barricade. I feel like it just wouldn't make sense for someone like me or like another trans person to play that role of someone that like can't be loved and can't be accepted as they are in that time period. If that makes sense.
No, it completely does.
Just
I love
them
that.
out.
No, and I think they're all great. How about like one that has a happy ending?
You know, that's a really good point. I think I'm so used to sad stories because the queer media I digested as a kid was mainly sad. Like now we're getting to see happy endings. We're getting to see heart stoppers. We're getting to see things where people are experiencing joy. So I think that's something I'm still unlearning. Of like, yeah, I get to have a happy ending in a show. But I also, I honestly think it could be any role. Like, I don't think it has to specifically be a trans angle. Like, I think the biggest thing I want people to know is like, you just put us in the show. Like, if it's a female role, it's a trans person, you can just cast them the role and that's what it is. I don't think there always has to be an angle about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really anything. I think of Once on This Island as a great example. Like when Alex Newell played Asaka.
Mm-hmm.
She just played the role. Like there was no angle around it. And the gods in general could be anything.
I was gonna say, I think that's even easier as a god, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like
omnipotent,
like we don't even know.
Like I would love to be Agwe or Erzuli, like either of them, because I feel like they can be played however and they can reflect whoever. And I just think that's how it has to be. We don't have to like jump hoops. We can just cast a talented trans.
I feel this also as a chubby person.
It's true. It's 100% true. I think it's so much easier than we make it out to be.
Yes.
And it's just because we've been taught certain things and how things are supposed to look. And I've just never been that way. I've never seen things the way other people see them. Yeah. I'm just like, well, I think this person's great, so let's just cast this person. So.
No, I completely agree. And then I know other ones that you've brought up before were like The Witch as well.
Oh my gosh.
I think that would be iconic. I'm surprised it hasn't been done before.
I mean, she has that ending too. Well, allegedly Billy Porter was supposed to play the witch in the revival, but after 9/11, Broadway was recovering, so then Vanessa did it.
I was gonna say Hudgens Williams.
I love Vanessa Hudgens though.
Can you imagine?
That's my childhood crush, Vanessa Hudgens.
Love it.
I love the witch, and I think there's a strength in her that only comes from having to deal with being ostracized, having to build confidence without the validation of others, which everyone should be doing, queer or not. But I think she's very queer to me. Yeah. And very powerful and very beautiful. And just the idea of transformation that she goes through and reaching the form that she believes represents her. I mean, come on.
Yeah. No, for sure.
That is so me. I would love to do that role. That is like, that's a big one for me.
I love it. Well, and the only way that you're going to get those roles is by auditioning.
Yeah.
And
you have to take up space.
We're going to take a little break so that we can listen to Dom's audition song. And I don't know, maybe take a little chance on me. Is that the song? Take a chance on me?
That's ABBA.
Oh, well,
you're almost there.
We'll find out. We'll get over there in just a minute. See you in a bit.
And then, now take a chance on me.
You think you can pull this off?
It's early America. Let's see. This is my go-to pop cut. Okay. So hopefully it's still a go-to.
We'll find out after this.
We'll find out when y'all comment. Like,
stay
subscribe.
tuned.
What do you say to taking chances? What do you say to jumping off the edge? Never knowing if there's something down below or hand
I always do
I
this.
say like take chances.
I'm still taking chances, honey. I'm taking chances of hitting these notes this early.
Take all the chances.
Well, I guess it could be. I guess y'all don't know what time it is. I'm realizing it's whatever time you're watching it at. I love it. And that is literally my go-to. And fun fact, the only reason that song is in my book is because I went in for Titanic off Broadway for Rose's mother at some point, like years ago, and I sang that cut, and I was like, this sounds good in my voice. And so I stole it, and now it's my go-to audition song.
I love it.
For pop shows and stuff.
Love it. Before we move on to like the theater team, I do want to talk about really quickly, because you just jogged my memory. I mean, you've done tours and stuff like that. I want to talk a little bit about that, because I know you did Angel out of city as well.
I did. Yeah,
Right?
I have done Rent twice out of town. I did it at a theater called the Umbrella Stage Company in Massachusetts. It was my first time as Angel, and Angel is like, I have a Mark Molyneux, shout out, Mark Molyneux painting of Angel in my apartment. But that's probably my favorite role in musical theater. Like, I feel so connected to her. So yeah, I did it then, and then I did Rent again at Theater Under the Stars in Houston, and was in the ensemble and understudied Angel, but I did end up going on, so I got to sit in her shoes again. I've been lucky with like getting to work at a lot of places outside of DFW as well, which I think everyone should explore other markets as well.
Yeah, no, and that's why I wanted to bring it up, is because like I mean, my podcast is Does DFW, but sometimes like get that experience, go out there and do other things, because sometimes, you know, maybe you're not cast here or you're not getting, you know, whatever you want. Go somewhere else, have some fun, and then bring that knowledge back here.
I think it builds confidence for me when I'm not cast here, that I can be cast in other spaces. And also, like, we all know it's really hard to make a living as an artist anywhere, but especially in Dallas. So I think finding those other opportunities when you're in between shows here is a great way to continue working and meet more people. I mean, it's all about meeting people.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and again, I know this podcast is about DFW, but I'm here to say that we're not the biggest and the best, right? We are definitely not the best, and we have our moments that we can work on.
Absolutely.
And that's something that I kind of want to dig in a little bit with you, you know, because I know that you can be vocal and you can put it out there on your Instagram, you know. And
I try to be.
And I don't mean it in a bad way.
No, yeah.
I mean,
I'm not trying to fight, but
here's the justice behind it, right? Here's what we need to be zoned in on, you know. And so, is there any theater tea that you'd like to spill or talk about today?
Here's the thing with that is, when the pandemic happened and we weren't working at all, we were able to take a look at the industry. That is when I decided I wanted to speak up when I felt like things weren't great or could be better, because I think we were taught to fear so that we didn't hold people accountable. And for me, I'm realizing like the whole idea of burning bridges is a tactic to keep people from holding you accountable. So for me, I don't see burning a bridge if the person I'm burning a bridge with has made me feel bad or doesn't create a safe space or an inclusive space. So I don't really like the term like blacklisted or burning bridges, because I just think it's a tactic. But as far as like DFW specifically, I feel like after 2020 happened, there was a good year where I was seeing DFW cast much more diversely, do seasons that told all kinds of stories, and tried new things. I feel like now I'm slowly noticing here and everywhere that we're going back to just doing the classics and just casting how we always casted, and casting like the same people that I've seen cast 10 years ago when I started here, which those people are great. It has nothing to do with them, but it's interesting how much changes in a year, in my opinion, as far as like how we're casting. And there's so many people here, so many talented people here of all different experiences that deserve their chance, you know.
Yeah.
Everyone deserves their turn.
I think one thing that like I find annoying, honestly, is it's maybe 7 more characters. How difficult is it to add someone's pronouns?
Well, yeah, there was a trend of theaters of theaters, using pronouns. And most of them still in a rehearsal context and audition context that ask for pronouns, so that is a positive change that has come. But for publicity, they would list the pronouns of the actors. And now, a lot of them took that away, mainly because, conservative folks, there was backlash in that way. But to me, if you can't stand up for the people working for you, what does that say about you?
Yeah.
I mean, I know patrons are important, of course, and making money is important to go on, but who are the patrons we're attracting if we're not speaking up for everyone? That's how I feel about it. And that's why I continue to do it. I know, I'm sure there's people that would prefer I didn't call things out. And I feel like I never do it in a way that is nasty or disrespectful, but I just can't sit back and I can't look at an all-white cast of a show again. I can't look at a season that is all of your white grandmother's favorites from the 50s. You know what I mean? Throwing one or two shows in of the classics is great, but we have to continue to move forward and tell other stories. Or if we're going to do those classics, we need to do them in a new way, and we need to cast people that were previously excluded in those. And that's where it goes back to trans people or plus size people or black people in roles that we never got to play before, because the default in people's subconscious of casting was that they were white. A lot of times you see a show where it says nothing about race, but it's just always traditionally been played white. And so people just think that's the default. So if we're going to do those old shows, then we got to include other people.
Yeah, Steel Magnolias.
Yeah.
Right, for instance.
Anybody, salons exist everywhere.
Yeah, BET had to do their own version to be we can do it too.
Right, and we shouldn't have to do that. Or we shouldn't have the one black show for Black History Month in a season, and then we're not seeing black people cast in other shows, And I mean, I think there are theaters in DFW that are really good with diversity, more so racially. I wouldn't say gender diversity, but definitely racially. And then there's some that are not so much. And it's hard because, like I said, back in 2021, 2022, I felt like we were really making strides, and I was seeing so many people on stage that I hadn't seen before or that were previously excluded. And now I feel like we're kind of going back. So it's unfortunate.
Do you think that that'll change? Do you feel it a turning point at all? Or do you feel like we're just going to continue going backwards?
I think we have the Dallas Theater Centers and places like that I still see that change happening. I just did Rocky Horror recently there, and it was full of queer people and people of color.
Here's what I will say, though. I think that show gives it that.
Right? Yeah, so
But at least they put on that show.
Especially right now with because that was during the drag, the drag ban that was possible. So it was kind of a great time to do it, but you're absolutely right. I want to go see, I'm just going to throw out a random show. I want to go see a Guys and Dolls, and there's a trans person playing whoever, or there's a black plus size woman, that's what I want to see. And I don't know if it's that people are turned off by and not auditioning because we've seen how things are cast over and over, and sometimes you don't want to keep giving people the opportunity to reject you when you've seen how they cast, but you also have to take up space. I'll go to auditions that I'm pretty sure I'm not even going to book based off of how I've seen them cast or maybe who is behind the table, because I have to take up that space. Because if I'm there, they can't say someone like me didn't audition. Do you know what I mean?
Thank you for that, because I think that's the first thing that they will come for, is that, they didn't show up. Yeah, they weren't here. Nobody auditioned for it.
I don't want to put all the responsibility on the actors, because yes, you should turn up, but I've been part of productions that did the work and reached out, and they found those people because they were intentional and they wanted those people part of the story. So that's an excuse to me when they're like, no one showed up, but did you reach out? Did you talk to your other directors that you know? You can find the people if it's truly something that you want and is important to you, you can totally.
Yeah, and that goes the same with shows. Don't say, we can't do that because we won't have the talent for it.
Right.
Then prepare for it, right?
Yeah.
Make your way.
Yes and no. I totally get that. There are some shows that I'm if you look at your area and you don't have, maybe not. Come on, Sergio, amazing. Shout out Fort Worth.
Dear goodness.
So good. But I mean, I will say both in DFW and outside of DFW, I still see those diversity statements of we encourage people of all genders and races to audition, but it feels like it's a copy and paste statement a lot of the time, and I'm not seeing that actually happen. Or we're casting them and we're not creating that safe space, because who's behind the table as well? That's what really makes the big change, in my opinion, is who's behind the table. We have a lot of great people behind the table here, but I would say it's majorly Caucasian and majorly cisgender and straight. There are queer people behind the table, and they are there, but they're not there enough, and they're not there enough, I think, in the higher regional theaters in general, everywhere, not just DFW. And I feel like real change is including those people. That was the biggest thing of when I did do Rent at Tuts in Houston. My director was Native American and trans. We had a Black woman as our choreographer. That cast was 98% people of color. I think there was like 2 white people in the show, and there was multiple trans and queer people in the show. And that's because behind the table was different. Mm-hmm. So that to me is what really brings change. Like, I can count on my hands the number of Black directors I've auditioned for in my career. And if that doesn't, we just need more. That is where that change happens. Those, or the casting teams,
Yeah, I mean, last month we had Mark Watt on, and I was like,
Marky.
I'm so thankful that you've been behind the table a couple of times, right, where you can bring that representation forward, and you have the ability and the influence to do that.
Yeah.
I was like, how do we make it so that there are more people that can get behind that table?
Yeah.
What do we need to do to make sure that we can gain the influence at the same time?
Absolutely.
But no, I'm glad that you were able to, use this platform to talk about that today, and just kind of bring it to the forefront again.
Yeah. I will always stand up for inclusivity and equality in casting, and especially as a trans person, it's just so important that we're humanized, especially right now with the political climate and everything going on. I think it's more important than ever to include trans people in shows that aren't about our experience, in your Hello Dollies, in your, Josephs, I'm just throwing them out. Just put us on the stage, let people see us, take up space. That to me changes a lot of minds. I think personalization is a big way to change people's minds about anyone that they don't know. If you personally know someone who's queer or Black or whatever, I think you see them as a human, and then you're able to see other people like that as well.
I think what's so sad is that we're still having an issue with color right now.
Oh, yeah.
There are definite laws, right, where that shouldn't be a problem anymore, but we still have that issue where to even have to tackle the trans hurdle that's, coming up next.
When we're still on the race. Yeah.
It's just disheartening almost. We are still having issues here, and this is the next issue that we need to overcome, and we're still
and
here.
There's definitely hope. I just did a show recently and was cast as a role that was based off a real person who was white. And originally, the plan with my hair, they just didn't really know what to do with my hair, because it was a predominantly white team, but they were open to listening, and they brought in a Black hairstylist to style my hair for the show, because they knew it was important. They knew if we're including a person of color in this role, it's already different. We can't expect it to be what has been. So that was a moment of hope where I was like, even when there may not be another person of color behind the table, if they're at least listening to the people they're casting, they can create change. And then we had another person of color on the team then, because they brought them into
exactly.
So there is hope, but it's still such a huge battle, which is so unfortunate.
Now, do you have any upcoming projects or anything that you can share with us today?
I am doing a reading with She DFW on, oh my gosh, I don't remember the date, but if you check my Instagram, it's there, of a new play. And then on May 31st, I'm doing a event with Watering Hole Collective, which is a nonprofit organization that I did a show with last summer. And some other things that I can't talk about yet.
And then we can see Eliza every once in a while.
Yes, I'm also a drag performer named Eliza Rocks. I'm normally at Tuesdays and Wednesdays at JR's and Sue Ellen. So come see me tour.
Wonderful. And then if you want to share your socials as well, your Instagrams or anything.
You can follow me at My Thrifty Aesthetic or at Eliza Rocks on Instagram. Or if you love TikTok like I do, you can follow me at Dom and Eliza.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again. I appreciate you coming on the show and chatting with me.
Absolutely.
And just being honest. You know,
we have to be.
That's what I want. And so make sure you follow Dom's Instagram where there's nothing but honesty on there.
It's kind. It makes it sound like I'm like beating people up.
Well, that too.
I lead with love.
No, definitely lead with love. But thank you for joining us, y'all. We're going to head back over to the keyboard just for one more song, another Dream Roll fun thing. And so we're going to hopefully have some fun.
We are.
Oh, we are.
We're going to have so much fun.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Very excited about the song because you killed the last two songs.
Thank you.
This one is actually sung by, someone that I love dearly. You.
What?
You.
I don't understand.
Because you're singing it.
Oh, okay. She's gullible and clueless America.
And that's why we love her. No, I really do love the song, and I want you to take us home. So tell us what we're singing.
I'm going home from Rocky Horror Show. I just did it recently, and I want to do it again, but as this role.
Oh, as this role?
As Frank
Sure?
Yeah.
I don't know if you do well.
Okay, I just want to play horror. I would like to play the role of horror in
The
Rocky
horror?
please. The horror. There's children watching, maybe. Hopefully not.
Sure.
Right? I'm scared.
Let's go.
Stole that from Miss Lee Walter. Shout out to Lee Walter for that ending. I want to give credit where credit is due.